Just Eff It. Hi, I'm Romy.
Hi, and I'm Carla.
And together we are the EFFing
Madres.
Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring Madres
who have changed their lives through an Eff It moment. So here we go. Just Eff It.
Happy Monday!
Happy Monday.
Monday motivation. We are the EFFing Madres. And what we do here, I am Romy. This is Carla. And every Monday, we are here to inspire you, to motivate you, and hopefully share a story that helps you get through your Eff It moment. Want to have an Eff It moment, reflect on an Eff It moment, or just be inspired by an Eff It moment by us Madres, right?
Yes, but also to just have conversations about certain things that, are starting to come up for us. So if you want to chime into those conversations and share your thoughts and opinions on, whatever we talk about, just Romy and I, we would love to hear from you.
That was a good point because actually Carla and I have started to do a few episodes where in our Eff It moment, which is what we're in, we have some reflecting things coming up and we decide we want to share it on here. And every now and then we have these deep conversations. So yes, please tune in.
Yep.
and let us know what you think about them and join the conversation, please.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we have today, Carla?
So we have a madre named Jennifer, and she is a really good friend of one of our favorite people that we've had on the podcast. Her name is Leslie Liu, and she was at our Eff It Madre event in Austin, Texas, and she showed all the madres there and us some self-defense moves and everything. So we absolutely love Leslie. So when she connected us to Jennifer, we were super excited. And, we obviously ask every person who comes on what their big Eff It moment is that they want to share. And so she basically, what I'm gathering, what she's saying is that she's decided to say Eff It and shut down her really profitable business and basically break all the business rules that she grew up with and began working with entrepreneurs in a much more meaningful and impactful way. So I'm curious to know how and what exactly, but it sounds very interesting.
Yeah. I can't wait.
So we're going to bring her on in just a second. All right, everyone, we have Jennifer Battle is here on the podcast with us. And we're just going to jump right into the questions. So when did you decide to just Eff It and why?
Yeah, what a great question. So first, I run my own business for about 6 years, and it was pretty successful. And it was fitness coaching. I loved it. At the time, it was just absolutely my jam. I worked out all the time. It was perfect. And then it wasn't. I think I got to a point where, I started to think about where I wanted my future to be. And, I was getting older. My kids were getting older. And I asked myself, is this what I want? Is this where I saw myself in the next 5 years? That lovely question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? But the funny thing was, I had that conversation with myself maybe 3 years into my business, but it took me another 2 years to finally get the courage to be like, Eff it. And I remember the moment because I was at a retreat with a couple of my really good friends, and we were talking about business, and I brought up that thing that had been in the back of my head. I'm like, yeah, this idea, and I've been working on it. And finally, my friend Jasmine said, look, Jennifer, you've been talking about this for as long as I've known you. When are you just going to do the damn thing? So it was that weekend that I was like, you know what? Eff it. I'm shutting it down. I'm burning my own business, my old business down, and I'm starting fresh. And it was just really important to me to have a business that really reflected who I was at the time, who I am, and who I'm growing into. And also just the feelings and all the things as a business owner, you start collecting these experiences and gosh, if I could do this all over again, or if I was in charge of this. And I realized, you know what? I am in charge. I am the entrepreneur. I do have, this is my choice. And so I made it. And that weekend in San Diego, looking at my friend Jasmine and Gigi and Jess, I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Oh, can I say that?
Yes, of course you can. Yeah, we are the fucking Madres. You can
right.
always say fuck it.
I was like, oh, are they saying Eff it because it's clean?
Oh, no.
You might not want to watch this with your kids in the car, but it's okay. This is for moms.
I mean, I guess that would like kind of lead me into this. I mean, I love that first of all that you said that it took a few years after having that effort moment to even have it. I think that's an important thing for everyone listening. You may have that effort moment and it may not actually come to the surface for a little while, and that's still part of it. At least that moment happened in you. And
Yeah.
when it surfaces and when you get the courage or the place in your life to really fucking go through that fucking momentum, like there's no rules to win and how these fucking things happen in our life, right?
Totally a process, right? Because
Yes.
you don't, I mean, yeah, there's a moment you're like, yeah, this isn't working anymore. And it's not all of a sudden that, like, poof, you have the brand new
Right.
thing. I mean, it took me a lot of iteration of just like asking myself, well, what do I want to do here? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And finally it started to click. Like certain things came together, certain experiences happened. I'm like, that's what I want. And so it was really good that I did take that time, because otherwise I probably would have jumped into something that wasn't quite right. Now I'm absolutely in love with what I'm doing now.
Wow.
So what did you do about it? Like what really was like that moment? What did you do when you were like, this is what I'm fucking doing now?
Yeah. So, just to give you a sense, so I was in fitness coaching, and now I have a community for entrepreneurs, fempreneurs in particular, who really want to focus on real relationships. So genuine connection, not the fake BS networky stuff, not the, oh, let me give you a referral, but like, let's actually spend time to get to know each other as humans, because I really feel like that's where the magic happens. So, I had written down, in fact, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Christina Giordano, because she has this great program. It's an acronym called LIFE. Don't ask me what the acronym stands for exactly. But it basically asked me very specific questions like, what do you want? I mean, I'm paraphrasing. And so it was those steps and taking through and just asking myself, like, what do I want my business to look like? How do I want to spend my time? Because as much as, a lot of people will leave a job or a 9 to 5 or a more traditional job and then go into entrepreneurship, that job mentality still sticks with you. So I was still getting up at 6 in the morning, and I had these routines, and I would work really, really hard until 4 o'clock. Then I would be tired and I would do the whole thing again. And I just remember saying, the whole reason, or one of the big reasons I got into entrepreneurship, is like, I didn't want to do that anymore. So I'm like, well, what does that look like? What do I have to do? What do I need to do? What do I want to do? And then I started to design a business around that. I wanted to bring people together. In essence, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring people together. I wanted to do it in a meaningful way. I read all the books about networking and connection. They're all crap. And I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. Now it's true. I mean, you learn from all these, white men who, this is how you do it with a handshake and the business card. And it's like, I don't think most of us connect at that level. And let's not even get into the, that fake everybody's doing great mentality. So when you're not doing so great in your business, you don't have, I mean, a lot of people are really searching for outlets where they can just cry, let their hair down, get excited. I'm not killing it this week, and there aren't very many places where you can genuinely and honestly do that. So I wanted to create that space.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I mean, there's a certain age which I think that Romy and I, and perhaps you as well, you get to where you're just like, I cannot stand here and just deal with the superficial talk anymore. Like, it's all about deep connections. It's all about really, really bonding. And I mean, maybe it's since I've become a mom, I feel that is so much stronger now that for me than it was when I was single. Like, there's just that bond amongst women. Now I want to be around women all the time because there is that camaraderie, as we like to say, amongst us. And so that sounds like the type of community I want to be a part of. So after I get off this, I'm going to go wherever it is that you sign up for, and I'm going to sign up for it. But I wanted to ask you because, you had built up a successful business. To walk away from that has got to have been a scary thing. So I want to know how you felt during that.
Oh, it was scarier than when I left my 6-figure job to start my first business, because um, I knew what worked. I had a formula. Money was coming in. And then it wasn't. And I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with like taking several steps back. And it took a lot. I was humbled, and a good friend of mine was like, this is going to be the hardest year of your life. She did not lie. Because it's like when you're good at something and when things have worked, to go back to a place of discovering, rediscovering, failing, all of that. It's like, oh, that didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it was I knew I was in the right direction, because as much as, no matter how broke I was still happy. I don't like being broke. Let's just be real. I didn't like being broke. But I'm like, gosh, if someone were to come along and offer me my old job back or my old business back, I didn't want it.
Yeah.
Because I was just, the connections that I was forming with these women, with these businesses, helping them succeed, helping them connect with other people. Like, that was my life calling. That was my soul calling. So yeah, it hasn't even been a year yet. We're coming up on our year anniversary in June, and it has grown and evolved so much. But I was just like ready to be in the crap, because I knew it was going to be in the crap, and I knew I was going to make a lot of mistakes. And I just said, that's okay. I'm going to try some stuff. It's not going to work. And I was giving myself a pep talk every 5 minutes. But yeah, it was scary. I'm not even going to lie. It was scary. Still is scary some days. And there are days where I want to just, screw it. Let's just burn it down again. But then I realized, it's like, no, I love this too much. I love what I'm doing.
I think that's a really important thing to think about when you said it, like, I was broke, but I was happy. Like, that right there, it doesn't matter how much money you are making. If you're miserable, what's the fucking point?
Carla, I was literally going to say that as you said that. Like,
Yeah.
you and I both took that takeaway from her, because
Yeah.
as soon as she said that, you and I were like,
Yes.
such a good point.
Because like right now I'm in like the thick of it too. And like Romy hears about it all the time. And so like, you and I need to talk a little bit about how we get through this crap. But it's like, if someone were to offer me what I had been doing for so long before, I would be like, it'd have to be in like the millions for me to even consider going back, because I was miserable. I was like a shell of a person, and I had no connections. And now, the money's tight. Like, I'm not making what I was making, but I have more freedom.
Yeah. I think we all have PTSD from our last jobs and careers. I mean, if that's not a theme,
that's such a great point, Jennifer. I think at this age too, as we've all worked many jobs and been locked into jobs and had careers at this point, like we've had them, we've been in them. So it's not like we're just starting our first job or our first career. We've been in them. PTSD, yes, girl, like that is a true thing. Thank you for saying that, because there is some trauma that comes up for us, and walls and restrictions and boundaries and things that we put on ourselves in these positions that so many of us, like-minded women, mothers coming together, that are like, this doesn't feel right. It's triggering some shit in me, but I got to break out of this, and we don't want to feel like that anymore. And I think that was the key. It's like, no matter how much like it may be security for some of us, the security inside our souls right now, it's like we're in this, like we always say, like this movement, it's breaking us.
Yeah.
It's like that bank account is not the thing that is pleasing all of us anymore. It's so much deeper,
I say, if I can eat and get my concealer, I'm good.
Well, yeah. Girl, if I can do my eyebrows and put some mascara on, we are good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my kids too. Feed them.
Yeah. Yeah, girl, they need a lunch too. So you know what? That actually is the next question though. So like, what did it do for your family? This is a great, what did it do for your family by saying fuck it?
Yeah. I mean, so my kids are a little bit older. Actually, my youngest is 18 now. She's going to college in the fall. I think they have now gotten used to the fact. So I'm a mom and stepmom of 4. So I think they've now gotten used to the fact that I take risks. And I think the big lesson for me, especially having kids who are a little bit older, when I started in my entrepreneurial journey, was, I remember my daughter giving me a card, and this, I'm not gonna cry. She gave me a card, and I think she would have been maybe 14 at the time. And she just said, "I'm so proud of you." And this was right after I left my job and started my business. Because, it's that thing, like, of course there are times where I want to give my kids things and I can't. Like, because it's just the money's not there. And I have a child who's getting ready to go to college. Ain't cheap, even though, bless her, she got scholarships and everything. It's still a lot of money. Um, but I also remember that the best thing I could do for those kids is be an example. And so I don't want them to live their lives thinking that they have to be stuck in something that does not serve them. Take risks, take chances, have fun with it, learn, make mistakes, because it's that kind of life that I think will help them really love what they do and enjoy what they do. And they may not go the entrepreneurial route, that's fine. But even if it helps them make good choices in relationships or take risks and move to a new city or something like that, I think the, you know, we in the financial piece, we try to keep them out of the like the nitty gritty of the details. But I'm also not afraid, especially now that kids are older, to say, hey, that's just not something I can do right now. This is where I'm going to prioritize for you. And here are some other, you know, talk to your daddy about that. I can't quite handle it. But yeah, I'm still really proud because I think at the end of the day, they know that I'm not someone who just sits and accepts what's given to them, and that I'm always thinking about what I can do next. And I'm not afraid to take that chance. So that's what I think.
What a valuable lesson. What a valuable lesson to teach your kids about taking risks, because if you don't take risks, you're really not living. You're just
Mm-hmm.
you're just floating and getting through life because it's comfortable, it's safe, but you're not experiencing things and you're not learning things and you're not going through the highs and the lows of what life throws at you, which are very valuable lessons. So, what an incredible, and it's great that your daughter saw that or sees that and like acknowledged you for it. So she's been watching you, and that's amazing. What an amazing thing to hear from your daughter, that she's proud of you.
Yeah, I think she's accepted a long time ago that I'm not going to be the June Cleaver kind of mom. And we're all good with that. We have such a unique and special relationship because we just are who we are.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the goals for Carla and I. I mean, we never know what our daughters are going to do. They could think we're ridiculous and think,
Yeah.
nothing of what we do. Like, but the wish is that one day we get our little girls to go, I'm really proud of you. I love that you taught me how to say fuck it and go after scary things and be really true to who I am. Like that's all of us. I feel like as moms, that's the gift right there. Not I bought you this, you went to school, you locked in this job. That's not the gift. The gift is, Mom, you fucking showed me how to be empowered and really find my truth. Like that, there's no money on that shit that we
Yeah,
offer our kids. So if
exactly.
I ever have a moment where I get something like that, like, yes, I'm going to cry.
Oh
So
yeah.
girl, those are like, that's a powerful moment as a mom. So that's rad.
For
It's
me.
a good balance because the other teenage stuff is like, mom,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
like,
sure.
remember when you said this about me?
I know, I know. So I'm curious now that you say you're just barely a year in your new business. So what do you have any fears that come up for you now? And how do you stay in your effort momentum moving forward and not letting those fears hold you back?
Oh, that's such a good question. So, absolutely, I still have fears, but I think what this what the experience of being, a little bit older and being in my, done the 15-year career, done the, entrepreneurship, is that I know it's going to happen. It's kind of like when they talk about the stages of grief. Okay, the first time I got divorced, and my therapist, the best thing she taught me was this whole stages of grief. And if now when I have grief, it's not that I'm not expecting it. I know it's coming. So of course I still have the fears in my business. That's my little analogy. I don't know if I transitioned very well, but of
I'm
course
here
I still
for
have
it.
I have the fears in my business, but I know that I'm going to have those fears. And what I do is I get pep talks from my mom. Yep. Still from my mother. So the original EFFing Madre, Barbara, where are you? But I still get those pep talks from my friends, from my mom. And I just have to remind myself that I was put on this earth to do something really important that only I can do. And I think this is the thing that Success Revolution Society, which is the group that I facilitate, that's the thing. And I know that we need this. And so, yes, I'm absolutely scared. Yes, Every day I question, like, what the hell am I doing? I could just get a job. I could make six figures. I could go back to that world. And I'm like, oh, maybe that won't be so bad. And there are times where I have to like do other things to make a little extra money on the side, and I have to be okay with that, because by choosing to take a step back, um, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I also know that by making the commitment to stay in it. So when I made that transition, I said, no matter what, I'm going to take this. I have 1 full year and I cannot quit. And I know I'm going to last past this year, but I'm like, I cannot quit. I cannot change my mind. I cannot change the direction. I am in this for this year minimum. And so that has helped me, because I know this first year is going to be the rockiest. And so I've had to say, okay, but it doesn't matter. I have to get past this, because I promised myself I have that 1 year minimum. So that's really helped me. And I think by the 1 year mark, it's like, oh, there's no turning back now. I absolutely love this. Why would I'm already put all this work in.
No, that's great, and I want to say, like, that's so good as far as like the momentum of the effort moment, like giving yourself. I love that you gave us an example of really what that looks like physically for some people, because some people that works for. I think it's really important to know how you hit goals, how you achieve goals, because for all of us it's different. And for you, putting yourself in that mark and knowing that you need to get to that mark, this is your little piece of like, this is going to be succeeded. I think that's beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that works for me at times too, being like, okay, I'm giving it this, and then you can keep fucking going after that mark, but you got
Right.
to hit that mark.
I
So
know
even
if
when you
I
get
could get
down,
through 12 months,
yes,
then I
yes,
can get through forever. That's the way
I
I look
love
at it.
that.
I don't do well with like, oh, I need to make X amount of dollars in a year, have X amount of clients. I have learned a long time ago, my brain does not connect with goals like that, but it's just perseverance and being really true to myself, not being afraid to say F it to all those business rules out there. Oh my gosh, there are so many. And I do things very, very differently. Things don't make sense. There are things that business coaches will say, why would you do that? That's not scalable. Don't waste your time. But I think that's why we don't get the thing that we really need, because we keep following what other people are telling you that you have to do, and it just doesn't work. So,
I
yeah.
don't think it works in any area of our life when we listen to what people are telling us to do, unless it rings true to our core. Like, advice is welcomed, but at the end of the day, I think all of us get to a point where we've been doing a lot of things based on what people are telling us to do. And at some point, you're just like, you know what? This is not fucking what I want to do. So these effort moments are going to start, and I'm just going to fucking do what I want to do. And I don't see you paying my bills. So here I go.
Right.
Here
Yeah.
I go. I think this is like so empowering, and I love it. What would you say to somebody, like somebody going through this, somebody in a job, somebody that is having this? Like, what is your advice to people going through this?
Hmm. I think if there's one thing that I could say is you have got to trust yourself, because there's going to be a million messages swirling around you, but that feeling in your gut, that feeling like that thing, I mean, we are all such unique people that, just like you were saying, nobody can really tell you what's right except you. And you have to allow yourself to get to a place where you can really, like, literally cancel out everybody else's opinions, everybody else's thoughts, everybody else's advice, and just say, what do I need? What do I want? What is best for me? Even, I mean, I know we're all moms here, but even the kids, forget them for 5 seconds. I know that might be hard. I'm not saying leave them on the side of the road. I'm just saying, don't consider them for 5 seconds. Consider yourself and ask, and just say, what is it that I need and want, and what is pulling me? Because we all have it if we just pause and listen to it, or allow ourselves to listen to it. And I think it gives us the right answer every single time. So trust yourself.
Man, that's beautiful advice, and something that I so needed to hear today. Because, like, you can, it's funny when like everyone else too like has a certain idea of you, and they tell you, oh, but you're this and you're that, and you're, like basically what we're saying, and they list off like, but you're capable and you're this, and then you yourself are like, but am I? Especially when you're in situations where like things are very, like in limbo. Like for me, example, I moved for Florida. I'm not working the way that I was there. I'm very much in a limbo. And so I'm like, oh my God, am I that? Am I capable? Am I worthy? Can I trust myself? But at the end of the day, like you said, it's all going to work out. I know in the back of my head it's going to work out, but it is a hard thing to do. So I'm glad that you reminded me of that today. I appreciate that.
Yes.
You know what you also reminded me of, and this is why I love this. Carla and I have said that, we get so inspired by these podcasts. So sometimes like we get done with these interviews and we're like, damn, that was like, I needed that. And so I think we both needed your words.
Yeah.
But the part where you said, even put your kid aside, and not think about them. Carla knows this about me. I get very lost in my daughter and what her needs are.
Mhm.
It can consume me at times, and I'll think of her and it's her. And I have struggled over the last 2 years with, wait, me. And if it's not me, I'm doing a disservice to her. And if I can figure that out, without putting her at the front of everything and the reason for everything and the why for everything, the why is when I am best, when we are best, we are best for them. It's that,
Absolutely. I still every day have to remind myself, because now that my daughter's leaving and we're going to be empty nesters, so I've got like options and choices that I may not have had before. And I find myself even in those options and choices like, well, where's Naomi going to be? And I'm like, wait, no, I got to put that out of my mind. What do I want? What do I want? And it's I'm sure I'm going to be doing that for the rest of my life, because they're your kids. You love them. You want to be there for them. But the best thing my friend said to me, especially with my 18-year-old, she's like, do you remember when you were 18 and going to college? I said, yeah. She's like, were you thinking about your parents at that time? I'm like, absolutely not. So she's like, maybe
Yeah.
you just go ahead and let your daughter go ahead and do her thing. I'm like, that is true. She'll be fine.
Girl, I wasn't thinking about my mom until maybe last year. Okay. It took me like 41 years to be like, what is she up to? How did that life work out for her? Yeah. And like what you just said, even about like, college, I'm like, damn, that's a good thing. Like once they're off, that's such an effort moment when your kids are actually gone and you're like, do I stay close to home and be near them and like guard them and be that mom? Or do I fucking go to an island? And I mean, I might be naked dancing on shrooms. I don't know. Like, what do you do
Were you in
when
my
your kids are
diary? No, I'm kidding.
when your kids are no longer, your priority? I can't even imagine that type of effort moment that is still to come in that,
You should
like,
totally talk to me next year, because I know I'm going to have some epic moment and epic stories, because I'm like
okay.
at that point. And my little
If I find
sleepy
you in a
town
drum
in
circle on some island,
I mean,
I
I don't
know
know about
you.
that, but I mean, right now I live in a small, sleepy town in mid-Michigan, and so
Okay.
I don't think you'll see me there next year.
No.
Well, don't worry. We're going to be following up with all our madres
Yes.
to get that
Yes.
episode to be like, where are you now? What's been going
Yes,
on?
we are.
Yeah.
Effort Madre Party reunion.
Yes.
I just think we both think it's really powerful to hear you guys in them. We've had a few moms who've come on and shared their like in the process, and then we've kind of seen what they've done. And I'm like, damn, we got to bring them back on so we can show people what happens when they follow through. Like Arden has her whole damn country that she built, from our very first episode. My friend Jen was going to tattoo school. Now she's like part of this like elite group helping women with like, reconstructive like parts. It's beautiful to see. So we want to
Awesome.
see where you're at. Please come back to us. Please like email us, visit us, DM us, let us know where you're at, because we do want to continue to share the success stories. And for any moms listening, if you said F it on here and it didn't come through, we still want to know what that felt like.
Yeah, because you still learn.
We
You
wanna
learn
just
such
keep it.
valuable lessons from that. You're a
Yeah.
changed person, whether something succeeds or not. You're a changed person, and that's the whole point of this. It's like that mindset shift, different perspective, trying new things. So, where can the people
Yeah.
find you?
Yeah. So the very first place you should look is on Instagram at Success Revolution Society. And then if you want to hang out with us, we do these monthly workshop and mixers. They are so not boring. So please don't, if you've been to networking stuff, I know you're probably like, I'm not going to go, but go to the link in my bio on Instagram and join us for our monthly mixers, because I mean, if you like cussing, because you do, you're listening to this podcast, if you like kind of realness and just a lot of fun. That's what you're going to get in these things. Plus, I always say you never know who you're going to meet. You can meet your next client, your next friend, your next collaborator. But I think it's the most important thing is that it's a place where you get to learn and just connect. And I think we need more of that in our
Absolutely.
regular lives.
Absolutely.
I love what you said about not knowing who you're going to meet. I mean, if Carla didn't do some of the networking she did, we never would have met Leslie, who
I love
ultimately brought
Leslie.
us you, who ultimately became like a powerhouse of our soul.
Mhm.
So you just never know if you don't put yourself out there, guys, in these situations. Give it a shot because you might meet your next business partner, best friend, soul sister. Just you got to break free, get out of the comfort zone, get out there, and then shit just starts to happen. So I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is where we say just F it. But again, I want to say thank you so much for being on
Thank
and
you.
sharing your story. It definitely resonated with me. So I'm sure so many women, it's going to resonate with them too and inspire them to maybe leave something they've been, even if it's successful. Like, it doesn't matter. It's all about your happiness and how you want to live your life on your terms. So I appreciate your story so much. Thank you for being on. And this is where we're going to say
Just F
F
it.
it.